Hi everyone, this is Chris from Team Phoenix, and the purpose of this video is to lay out in a detailed timeline the order of events in the case of Gannon Stauch. This information is based primarily from the recently published arrest affidavit, but also takes into account other known information sourced from numerous forms of media. Letecia Stauch, Gannon's stepmother, is currently incarcerated in Colorado, facing a charge of first-degree murder. Her next court appearance is scheduled for April 14th at 3 p.m. So we begin on the 25th of January. Using information provided in the arrest affidavit, we can see from Letecia's iPhone Google searches, it gives us an interesting insight into Letecia's state of mind on the 25th and on the 26th of January. Now we can see here, starting from the 25th at 12:16 p.m. and leading up to the 26th, 9:27 a.m. when is the final search. But we can see the kind of things that she's searching for on Google. Find real military singles. Parenting should be 4 people, not 1. I'm overdoing all the work for my stepkids and their mum doesn't help. Mum advice from stepmum. If you aren't involved in your kid's life, you are shitty. My husband's ex-wife does nothing for her kids. I wonder if my husband's ex-wife is sending me a card since I raise her kids. I wonder if my husband's ex-wife is sending me a Valentine's card since I raise her kids. One day, some people will wish they treated you differently. Why should my husband choose me over family? Find me a rich guy who wants me to take care of his kids. Find a guy who wants me to take care of his kids and get paid. Those are from the 25th of January. From the 26th of January we have, it's crappy some parents don't care for their kids or buy them presents. Parents are those who put their kids before their nails. Sunday, January 26th. Based on text messages from Letecia to Al, Gannon was up most of that evening with a stomach problem, and T tells Al, I'm just going to give them an excuse at work and stay with him. Monday, January 27th. From 12:09 to 1:01 a.m., T is searching Google. My son burned the carpet, how do I fix it? Will humidifier help if exposed to smoke? Smoke effects, will humidifier help? Smoke from fire effects, will humidifier help? Colorado law for kids staying at home. School is out, is it okay for my kid to stay home alone? Son is sick, but I have to go to work. T later released this video on social media, which apparently she just happened to be recording. It's almost certainly from the late hours of Sunday, January 26th, into the early hours of Monday, January 27th.
Well, devastating. Initially, Scott, I can't lie, when the TMZ information was
Gannon,
initially...
I promise this is the last time I'm going to ask you. I'm just freaked out, okay? Are you sure you didn't do it on purpose?
He did it.
Okay, you promise.
He
You promise.
on purpose.
Pinky promise.
Pinky.
Okay, alright, so, listen. We're gonna have to sell stuff to fix it, okay? So, we figure out what we gotta sell. We can sell the sofa, we can sell whatever, because we gotta get it fixed, so lady, don't be mad at us and kick us out of the house, okay? You got it?
Around about the same time, another copy of this video appeared on social media, but it had a little bit of additional audio of Gannon at the end.
Okay. You got it?
4:37 on the morning of the 27th of January, the Monday, T texts her employer and tells them that her stepdad was killed after being hit by a car and she would not be able to be at work that day. 4:40 a.m. and T is Google searching suede repair kit for sofa. 8:13 a.m. and T takes two images of Gannon sleeping in his bed, one at 8:13 and one at around 8:17. It's important to note that in the images Gannon's Nintendo Switch is visible, lying next to him on the bed. It's known that Al said the Switch system was of very high importance to Gannon. To date, it has not been found. At 9:56, T conveniently locks her phone and leaves it at home, which takes us to 10:16, which is when we see Letecia and Gannon leave the residence in Al's red Nissan Frontier. It also appears from the video that Gannon throws something on the ground, which T then, shortly after, appears to pick up. At 11:22, and T makes her first purchase at the Petco store on 5020 North Nevada Avenue in Colorado Springs. It's an estimated 22 miles, 30 minutes from their home. Gannon was not caught on any of the Petco surveillance videos. (13:22) and T is back at the Petco store to make her second purchase. Police have no idea where T was for those 2 hours between 11:22 and 13:22, between her two visits to the Petco store. (14:19) and T is seen returning in Al's truck. According to the affidavit, Gannon also returned with T. It's now known that Gannon's house had an ADT security system installed which had motion detectors the upstairs and downstairs and contact sensors on the front and rear doors. According to the ADT security logs, there was motion upstairs and downstairs from between 14:20 and 14:45 hours. It is believed that Gannon was murdered in his bedroom sometime that afternoon, and his remains brought through the house into the garage and likely loaded into the back of Letecia's Volkswagen Tiguan. No traces of blood were found inside Al's Nissan Frontier. So this then takes us to Tuesday, January 28th. Sometime past 4 a.m. in the morning, T is searching for what you would expect a stepmom in this position to be searching for, only in this case it appears that T is searching for what she wants people to see what she is searching for. What's the process for our runaway child? Police steps for your runaway. Police steps for our missing child. Today's flight. 8:30 and T leaves her Volkswagen Tiguan in a short-term parking lot at Colorado Springs Airport. She's there to pick up Al, who's flying in from Oklahoma, coming back from national duty. Now, T doesn't want anyone to see her Volkswagen Tiguan. She doesn't want anyone to get near it. That's why she's parking it up and leaving it in the short-term parking lot. Sometime between 8:30 and 8:50, T rents a four-door white Kia Rio from the Avis Rent-A-Car at Colorado Springs Airport. The reason that she gives to Al for renting the car is so that she doesn't have to put mileage on her own Volkswagen Tiguan, which was also leased. However, it's also now come to light that T only ever did 71 miles on this Kia Rio, which shows the only reason she rented the car was because she didn't want Al or anybody else to be anywhere near her Volkswagen Tiguan. Now this of course goes against the receipt that everybody has seen, where it shows that apparently 955 miles were driven in the Kia Rio. But we have to take the word of law enforcement, who have told us 71 miles. They would have taken this either from the car's CPU, or they would have got the correct figure from Avis. I can only presume that either Avis didn't manually check the odometer on the car, or they just took figures that T herself provided to them. But basically law enforcement are telling us that vehicle only did 71 miles, therefore making her story that she needed or used the rental car not to put mileage on her own Volkswagen Tiguan makes that story unbelievable. Some people confuse the mileage with the Tiguan only doing 71 miles, but that wouldn't make sense because you would expect low mileage on the Tiguan in those circumstances. "8:50 and T picks up Al from the Colorado Springs airport in the rented Kia Rio, and they drive back to their house. As I say, the excuse she gave and continually gave to Al was that she had leased the vehicle so as not to put mileage on her own Volkswagen Tiguan. Al never actually saw the Volkswagen Tiguan during this time, and Al and police did a limited search for it but never located it. Later on that day at 12:57 p.m, T searches "Can Nintendo find my Switch?" At 4:18, T Google searches "CarNet Volkswagen." And at 4:19, they are asking for our son's toothbrush, but said nothing is wrong. 1900 hours, and T collects her black Volkswagen Tiguan from the short-term parking lot at Colorado Springs Airport. According to CPU data from T's Volkswagen Tiguan, together with mobile data from her phone, it's known that she was in the northwest portion of Colorado Springs, north of the Air Force Academy, and in southern Douglas County between the hours of 20:30 and 22:20. It's at this time that T is believed to be transporting and dumping Gannon's remains, likely off of Highway 105 South Perry Park Road. Specifically between the hours of 21:15 and 21:30, T's Tiguan stopped for approximately 5 minutes in an area proximate to where police would later find Gannon's blood on a piece of particle board. So this brings us to Wednesday, January 29th. At 9 a.m, T returns the white Kia Rio rental car back to Avis at Colorado Springs Airport. Harley picks T up in her Volkswagen Jetta after she's dropped it off. No blood DNA match was found in the Kia Rio or GPS or location data. At 10 a.m, T is meant to be with investigators at the El Paso Sheriff's Office. She actually volunteered to go and speak to them. But at 11:30, she's having her Volkswagen Tiguan washed at a place on East Platte Bonvoy Avenue in Colorado Springs. She actually turned up at 12 o'clock to the El Paso Sheriff's Office to speak with investigators with a nice clean Volkswagen Tiguan. It was at some time during this interview that officers noted that T's Volkswagen Tiguan was still wet and her vehicle was seized. At some point after that, she then rented another vehicle, a silver 2020 Nissan Altima, and investigators installed a GPS tracker on this vehicle. 2 days later, on Friday, January 31st, T is right back in the same area on Highway 105, Douglas County, in the Nissan Altima, where they believe that she initially put Gannon's body. Between the hours of 4:16 p.m. and 5:13 p.m. she was in the very same area and proximity as to where they later found Gannon's blood on a piece of particle board. There's no evidence that T had any friends or family in this area. What they believe is she disposed of Gannon at night and had gone back in the sunlight to ensure that no evidence was visible from the road and ensure that his remains were adequately covered. This is also the day that T gave this back-facing interview to KKTV.
I am Letecia Stauch, which is Gannon's stepmother.
You've been a part of the investigation since the very first time. You were the last person to see him. Is that right?
Correct.
What did you see when you last saw him?
Well, I'm not allowed to talk about anything with the case. I would more so be...
On Saturday, February 1st, FBI conducted a search of T's Volkswagen Tiguan. Possible traces of blood were found on the rear, a rear passenger seat, front passenger seat, and an area near the glove box. Specifically, evidence of suspected blood was found on the rear bumper and step plate of the rear bumper. Swabs from the trunk were further analysed, but a DNA profile could not be developed and was negative for the presumptive presence of blood. Saturday, February 15th, and investigators get a huge breakthrough. Gannon's blood is found on a piece of particle board located off of Highway 105 South Perry Park Road in Douglas County, Colorado. This just happens to be, of course, the exact location that T had visited in both her Volkswagen Tiguan and her rented Nissan Altima. Tragically, of course, Gannon's body was found on March 17th in a suitcase alongside a highway on the Escambia River Bridge in Pace, Florida, nearly 1,400 miles away from his home in Colorado Springs. Letecia Stauch had already been arrested on March 2nd in South Carolina. Of course, the information in the released affidavit was, well, the affidavit was published 3 weeks before Gannon's body was found, so I'm sure that things are going to change a lot leading up to trial. As I said at the beginning, T is next due in court on April 14th, and here are just some more of the searches that were found on her iPhone. These are ones that were undated, probably likely ones, maybe ones that she had deleted. But again, it just gives you an insight into this woman's mind.